Hey guys, EDDBUD here and welcome back to the channel. Good day to all of you. And also good afternoon, good evening and good night, in case I don't see you later. A bumper show today, focusing on a comparison between the Hoka One One Clifton 7 and the Nike Pegasus 37. All the 7s today. Before we get into that though, I've got a little shoe teaser for you. New arrival here. What could it be? In a new box as well, with a strange flattened piece on the side here. What's going on there? The Torrent 2, a trail shoe. Very keen to try this one out. What an amazing orange there, look at that. Nice profile shoe as well. So be testing this one out first thing tomorrow. I think I'll try and get out very early in the morning and hit the trails to give my initial impressions, so watch out for that one. I guess if I was going to give one word about this one, light, actually. Quite a light feeling shoe. Certainly feels a little lighter than the Clifton 7. Almost camouflage style bottom, although I don't think that you're going to be able to camouflage yourself while you're wearing these. So I hope you're all fighting fit out there and you've been running away those blues. It works, it really does. 6:30 AM out this morning for 10 miles or 16.1 kilometers, averaging roughly 7 minutes 30 per mile in the endorphin speeds. I just couldn't resist taking them out for another 10 mile spin. Anxious feelings and negative vibes exercised. And of course, doing some decent miles means you can have a breakfast of champions when you get back. On to today's focus now. A comparison between the Hoka One One Clifton 7 and the Nike Pegasus 37. So weights are 300 grams or 10.6 ounces for the Hoka One One Clifton 7 in my UK size 11.5. And in a UK size 11 here, the Nike Pegasus 37 weighs in at 310 grams. I believe that's about 10.9 ounces. On to the uppers first. So a much lower toe box height here in the Pegasus 37. Certainly if you compare it to the cavernous upper on the Clifton 7. The arch meet's a little more pronounced in the Pegasus 37 here. I could feel it. Haven't really felt it in previous Pegasus shoes. Both of the shoes are very similar insoles in terms of their style and weight. This one was about 30 odd grams, I think, which is just mad. And there's just loads and loads of cushion there. Don't really think it was needed in the Pegasus 37. I'd suggest that breathability is on par in both shoes, but lockdown more easily achieved in the Clifton 7. The lace loops here act as eyelets rather than the standard ones you get on the Clifton 7, but I found them very inconsistent in that purpose. And lockdown really wasn't a strong point for the Pegasus 37. I think heel lock is more cultured in the Hoka Clifton 7, and for me, looking at upper, overall the Clifton 7 is an easy win. It's more accommodating and an overall traditional simplified upper here. Midsole now. In terms of midsoles, you will recall that I wasn't the biggest fan of the midsole on the Pegasus 37. Over my 100 miles in the shoe, I found it took quite a long time to actually bed in and start to mellow out. It did start to mature a bit like cheese towards the end. Expect to put in a number of miles into this shoe before it starts to mellow out and soften a little bit. It became less firm and it seemed to have more life towards the latter stages of my testing. Perhaps a little bit more responsive as well. I started to feel the air unit a little bit more towards the 100 miles. I certainly applaud the introduction of the air unit in the forefoot, but that overly thick insole seemed to dampen its response. It was kind of like having a really great guitar player in a band, but then having their guitar far too low in the mix, and you just can't hear it. And it's a little bit like that with the Zoom Air unit in this shoe for me. I would have preferred a lower stack height in this shoe and a continuation of the full Zoom Air unit throughout both the heel and the midfoot and forefoot. I'll tell you what, it's warm in the shoe sanctuary today, guys. A more traditional EVA midsole here in the Hoka One One Clifton 7. There's a mass of that foam. It really does feel quite high when you first put it on foot. Again, a situation here of a very thick midsole foam, which is very, very shock absorbent, but not really that responsive. If you're looking for road feel in either of these two shoes, you're barking up the wrong tree. I seem to prefer a more malleable midsole material these days, and I think it says a great deal about these two shoes. Where I've been running in the Clifton 7, I've been harking back for that very cushioned midsole in the Nova Blast from Asics. Initially I didn't get on with that shoe, but towards the end I really enjoyed it, and now I kind of miss it. The foam there was far more forgiving to run in, and I felt that shoe was slightly more nimble and exciting really on foot. In terms of midsole here in both of these shoes in today's comparison, they're both somewhat uninspiring in terms of their cushion. I mean, they're great daily shoes, but don't expect to be bowled over with incredible levels of excitement. They're okay and cushioned enough for easy paces, but really daily use slug mode only. And I don't think either are the most versatile shoes on earth. So I'm going to give it a draw on midsole. Outsoles next. So two drastically different approaches to outsole on these daily shoes. We have a very aggressive outsole arrangement here on the Pegasus 37, and then a more smooth modular approach here in the Hoka One One Clifton 7. My advice to you guys would be, if you run on a variety of different surfaces, then the Pegasus 37 actually might be the better shoe of the two. I think it's got the chops to handle even some light trail work. If you've got a trail route nearby with some dirt, some rocks, some gravel, perhaps some woodland areas, watch out for those squirrels. The lugs here are deep enough to provide some reasonable traction. So a little bit more versatile of an outsole maybe. Though, do you need all of that on road? Probably not. The outsole of the Hoka One One Clifton 7 is a small rock magnet. The job of prying out the stones from the outsole here is becoming a very frequent task. Though the rubber pieces are more frequent here in the midsole and forefoot, which I'm very thankful for after the very fast rubber wear in the Rincon last year. These provide some really good traction and grip on pavement and road surfaces. Though I think if you took it on a trail, you'd have even more stuff wedged in there, especially in these cut-out sections of the midsole. As I say, not so hot on dirt or gravel. These Dysons just hoover up the stones. So for me, it's a win in terms of outsole for the Nike Pegasus 37. Value now. Value-wise, I feel that both of these shoes present some reasonable value for those looking for a daily shoe. Looking for something to grind the miles away, then I don't think you can go far wrong with either of these really. I'd perhaps say the Pegasus 37's got a slight advantage in terms of its cheaper price, but there's not a lot in it. I think it's about £10 difference. I'm not the biggest fan of Reacts, but I know there are lots of people out there who do really like the midsole foam here. Undoubtedly, I think it will hold up great over a large number of miles. They have a suspicion though, from reading a lot of viewer comments recently, that the EVA here in the Hoka shoes just does seem to lose its luster a little faster perhaps than React. So you're looking at a slightly more expensive shoe here, perhaps without the durability of the other. I think if the shoe fits, then the Pegasus 37 might be the best option. It wasn't the best for me, but I'm just one runner. I think you'll get loads of miles out of it if this one is a good fit for you. Just a little too limited here in toe box height for me. The miles are racking up in the Clifton 7, got quite a number of miles already, and I can't say I've disliked any of the miles that I've run in the shoe so far. Just kind of a bit uneventful, I suppose, which is sort of what you want when you're running. Sometimes. I think if you're running easy pace miles right now, and you want a shoe that's perhaps got a little bit more room in the toe box in terms of height, and of course there are some extra width fittings available for the Clifton 7, it could be the best value shoe for you right now. I think perhaps if you're more of a midfoot striker or even a heel striker, this one could work out really well. Perhaps a better value longer term shoe. If you're perhaps looking for something that's got a little bit more pace about it with that forefoot Zoom airbag, then the Pegasus 37 might be worth investigating. Though I would suggest try before you buy. It's quite difficult to do right now. Maybe check you've got a good returns policy. So for value, I'm going to say it's a draw between these two shoes. I don't really feel that either one is any better than the other. That just about wraps up my comparison there, guys. Have you got any views and opinions on these two shoes in terms of my comparison, or any questions? Please put them in the comments down below. I think both of them present a very valid option for daily use, with the Clifton being a slightly better shoe for me, but at a slightly higher price. Those of you that are waiting for my Ultra Escalante 2.5 review, I did get the shoes, but I have had to send them back as I got the wrong size. It was just a little bit too small. So hopefully the new pair will be with me at the very start of next week. I'm very keen to try them. I did have a good look at them out the box, and We've got a huge, wide forefoot there, and they felt really great on foot. So very excited to try out the Ultra Escalante 2.5, a musical interlude. I've been doing quite a few errands today, driving around, and I was actually listening to Johnny Cash, the Man in Black. It was some of his old stuff on the Sun label. I particularly like Folsom Prison Blues, of course, and Get Rhythm is probably my favourite. I cranked that up on the stereo in the car and was singing along, and a number of people on the roadside were looking at me like I'd completely lost my mind. There's loads of great tracks actually on that Sun collection that I've got. Cry 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 is a brilliant song, and Luther Played the Boogie Woogie as well is equally as good. So do check out some of that early Johnny Cash stuff, you won't be disappointed. That's just about all for today, guys. Thanks for watching through to the very end of the video, I appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, hit the subscribe button and click the bell for notifications of when the new videos launch. It really helps the channel out a huge amount if you give this video a thumbs up like and also share it with your running buddies. My name's EDDBUD and I'll be seeing you